And welcome back to Hoop Shooting the Breeze, our show all about the hoop shoots. We're kicking off our second season of the show today, and we'll feature interviews with past participants, volunteers, and other friends of the hoop shoot program. Also this year, the 2021-22 season marks the 50th anniversary of the program. So today we'll start with a history lesson. I'm Makenna Cannon, and joining me is Bart Powell, son of Getty Powell, the first national director of the hoop shoot and a longtime friend of the program. Welcome, Bart.
Thanks for having me, Makenna.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to have you here. So as I just mentioned, this year marks the 50th anniversary of the program. And your family has been a part of the program since those early years with your father, Getty, being the first national director.
Right.
Can you share some of those memories of those early years of the program?
Well, obviously, I'm going back a long time. At the time, I was 10, 11 years old, but I knew about it. I knew what was going on. Sports was my life, and so Dad kind of let me tag along. Frank Heiss and him were super close friends. Been in Elkdom. I think my dad became an Elk in the mid-40s and was state president in the early 60s, and obviously he went up in Elkdom very, very quickly and became really good friends with Frank. And Frank came up with this idea and asked Dad to run with it. And Dad had no idea where to go, what to do. So he thought, okay, let's divide the country into 8 different regions, and let's try to get kids from all over the country to join somewhere and have a national championship. So that's what he did, and I'm going to guess it was in a 71-ish range. He got in a car or got on a plane and traveled several places to try to get people to help run the program. And one thing that stood out, I don't think he ever had any problems convincing people that we were going to do this. He went to North Carolina and he had a meeting with Dean Smith. And Dean Smith was the guru of college basketball and the biggest name in North Carolina history. And Dean Smith would not jump on board. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. So dad came back and he was frustrated, but that wasn't going to stop him and Frank from starting this program. So they got everybody together. They figured out 8 regions and decided to have that contest starting in 1972 at the local level. I know several states had contests before that, but the first national championship was the year 72, 73. I was there. I was at the national championship.
Oh, wow.
I'm 100% sure that we flew in on Friday before the contest on Saturday.
Wow.
We went into a hotel. This is bits and pieces, but we sat down at a table for dinner with a man named Bernie Waters, and Bernie Waters was a big Elk in Kansas City, Missouri, and he had everything set up. Dad just came in, was going to oversee it, and we were getting out of town.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember the announcer. His name was Galen. He met us for dinner. He was going over all the names and everything. The next day, we walked into a rickety old gym. Now it was a big gym. It was Memorial Coliseum in Kansas City. It was St. Patrick's Day, and St. Patrick's Day, they always had a big parade in Kansas City. So we were stuck in traffic trying to get there. I do remember that, and I remember walking into this big gym, but it was really dark, really dark. And that's all I can remember.
Yeah.
I know we didn't really, I'm sure we passed out trophies. I don't remember if it was at the contest or if we had a meal afterwards. But that's all of my knowledge of that first contest. I knew that there were at least 3 kids from New Mexico that were in the contest. And that's all I can remember about it.
Mhm.
But I can still see that dark and grungy gym. The
Well,
next
that
the
is
next
so
year,
cool to hear.
the
I
next
mean,
year
yeah.
it was more organized.
Okay.
Without question, it was more organized. Um, and we went in a couple days early.
Hmm.
Um, we stayed in an older hotel. The hotel had a roof, and we actually had them put a basketball goal on the roof for kids to go shoot.
Oh my gosh.
And once again, I think we had 8 regions.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact number there. But I was out there shooting, and there was only 4 or 5 of us out there doing that.
Wow.
It was March. It was Kansas City. It was cold.
Yeah, I'm not warm to be shooting basketballs on a roof.
Right. But that's what we did. It was a lot more organized. There were a lot more grand exalted rulers there. I do remember that.
Hmm.
I remember the highlight being after the contest, we all went to McDonald's.
Ooh.
Yes. So in 1974, McDonald's was the thing, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So once again, I don't remember anything much about the contest or afterwards. Obviously, a 12-year-old kid's going to remember McDonald's. So
Wow. I mean, it is so cool to hear though your memories, of the program in those early years and kind of get a snapshot of what it was like when they were just starting out as a national
right,
program,
right,
figuring it out, growing even in that first year from like where they started to, the next season having more, grands and just
right, right.
a cool location. Well, that's
They started, they wanted to buid it even more. And
really-
at the time, the NAI national championships, which were huge back in
Mhm.
those days,
Okay.
almost as big as the NCAA's,
Mm.
they were held in Kansas City.
Okay.
So we'd be going in early and taking the kids to the NAIA national championship games,
See.
and they really enjoyed that. And then the time frame didn't work out, so the Kansas City Kings were in Kansas City. They'd
Mm,
take them to a Kansas City. I remember Kansas City Kings Chicago Bulls game, and the Bulls stayed in the hotel that we were in, which was a huge hit.
that's huge.
Yeah, yeah. So then obviously they moved it to Indianapolis and Market Square Arena.
Mhm.
And that's when the program really got started rolling. My dad oversaw it. He did a lot of good things, but I'm going to give full credit to Emil Brady. Uh,
Aw.
Emil was a man. Uh, Emil Emil had a way of getting a lot of people to do a lot of things,
Mhm.
and if he didn't do it, he wouldn't take kindly to it. And it was a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
We were in the Hyatt Regency in Indianapolis, and the rooms were indoors, so
Mhm.
18 floors, I think, and he would stand on the second floor and overlook everything,
Yeah.
watching the registration table, watching the hospitality room, just making sure everything went well.
Was running smoothly, and he
It
was the
was
second director after
second,
his father.
right,
Yeah. Oh
right,
wow.
second director.
Mhm.
One year, the Chicago Bulls were staying in the hotel, and Michael Jordan was playing for the Bulls,
No way.
and they were knocking on his door, and they finally had to get some police to stop the kids from knocking on the door. So that was a pretty cool moment. But
I've never
they
heard
added
that.
more
That's so cool.
activities.
Yeah.
Obviously, Indianapolis is the home of the Indy 500,
Mhm.
and they take trips to the track, and everybody get to go around the track. And so that's when it really started blooming. And like I
Mhm.
said, Brady got everybody involved, and everybody wanted to be a part of hoop shooters.
Yeah.
it was growing faster than anything in the Elks, and everybody wanted to be a part of it. And I'm going to give 90% of the credit to Emma.
Wow.
The Basketball Hall of Fame, they started wanting to be a part of it, and Brady jumped on board. I know that we started putting a plaque in the Hall of Fame in the late 70s, but they came to Emil and my dad in the 80s and said, "Hey, how about we run a basketball game with the finals of the hoop shoot?" And so the first year they had it, I think they had about 7,000 people. Chris Mullen, who was a national champion, came and played.
So
Bob
cool.
Knight and unbelievably Dean Smith came back to coach and praised my dad and Emil for all the work they had done, because at the time there were 3 million kids participating in the hoop shoot. And so that was a big deal. And then they had it another year, and Eddie Sutton and Ray Meyer out of Chicago, they coached that year, and kids just ate it up and absolutely loved it. And for some reason, and I cannot tell you the reason, the game went away.
Yeah.
We did a lot of games with the Pacers and introduced the kids at halftime with their national championship trophies.
Right.
But that was the end of the game, the Hall of Fame Classic.
Okay. Yeah. And they're thinking about bringing, they have the Hoop Hall Classic possibly coming back, but it won't be attached to the hoop shoot anymore. It's more, they've kind of changed how that looks now. Even though we still have the partnership with the Hall of Fame, which is great. So there is that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
In 91, I got a boatload of notes here. In 91, we went to the Basketball Hall of Fame for 1 year. Excuse me, I got to get a drink. Oh, by the way, I'm drinking out of a Coke glass with a Cub logo on it for Jim O'Kelly.
Shout out to Jim and his White Sox fanaticism.
But anyway, we went to Springfield for the 100th anniversary of basketball and shot, and there were a lot of dignitaries that were coming for the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame induction ceremony was that week.
Yeah.
Knight was being inducted that weekend. I've got another story a little bit later about that, but a lot of people saw that. And it just absolutely fueled the fire for Hoop Shoot again. We went back to Indianapolis for a couple years, and then the Hall of Fame in Springfield begged them to come out to Springfield and bring the show with them. They actually put my father in the Basketball Hall of Fame for the work that he had done. And they put him and Emil on the board of directors. So I don't know if they were doing that to get the shoot out there or what. I don't know, but they both were very deserving of that without question. And then Buddy Avasi and his crew took over. They did a super job with it. We went to Springfield, the Springfield Civic Center for a couple of years. And we always had trouble getting in there because the Springfield Civic Center had events all the time. And we'd have to either wait on hockey games or concerts from the night before to set up the gym. So we'd be over there at 4 a.m, setting the gym up. And then, of course, it was a lot of fun doing it. It was just kind of a pain because you didn't know what was going to happen. There were birds always flying around in the Civic Center. One shoot, they had to put the floor down on the ice rink because the local hockey team had to play that night, and it would not freeze after they took the court up in time. So everybody's feet were cold and they were wearing coats and jackets. And that was early. In the Springfield days.
Mhm.
And then Buddy said, hey, let's go out to the local college and shoot. And so we took it out there until we
Mhm.
brought it to Chicago. And um, the innovations that the foundation and you guys have done, Jim and Deb, have just been unbelievable. You guys add something different to it every year.
Yeah.
The basketball cards are fabulous. That's my
Oh,
favorite thing.
I love it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a synopsis of 50 years in about 10 minutes. But they're just a lot of memories. Um,
Oh,
I've only missed 2 contests in the
mhm.
50 years other than the last couple of years. So
Mhm.
college took me away 1 year and I think I was sick another year, but
Okay.
I've seen 46 of the contests.
You've seen 46 of the 50 years of the program, which is just
Right,
hearing those memories it's so cool to have someone
right.
who was there from the, conception really of the national program.
Sure.
And yeah, it's awesome to hear that. I mean, learning history from the program every time I hear something new, like I don't know, for instance, that the Bulls were at the hotel twice while you guys were having the hoop shoot. What are the chances? And then Michael Jordan was there, and the kids were trying to get him to notice them, and
Right,
that's so cool.
right.
I
And
love it.
there was a big difference because I was a Bulls fan growing up. And
Mhm.
when the Bulls were in the hotel at Kansas City, I mean, those guys were just sitting in the lobby, and Bob Love was one of my favorite players. And man, I'm sitting there talking with Bob Love. And then 10 years later, Michael Jordan's in the hotel, and those guys are out of sight.
Yeah, you can't get a hold of them. No,
Right,
different
right,
team at that point.
right,
Wow, that is so cool. And yeah, I mean, I just love hearing about that. And that's something that we're working on now too, is capturing that history. And we have, a dedicated staff member who's going through all of the physical files that we have in, 50 years of physical files of photo albums to try to capture that history and share it with everybody
right,
this
right.
spring, for the finals. So it's so cool to just kind of uncover that, those things that
Right.
have kind of been lost to time, and oh wow, that happened, or this story was written. We had no idea that happened. Those sorts of things. It's really
Right,
cool to
right,
hear.
right. Well, my dad didn't do a good job of marking the time with photos. And I mean, we do have photos and I've
Mhm.
given them all to the foundation, but
Right.
Brady started doing it. And, when we got into Market Square Arena,
Mhm.
that contest got so competitive. That's when they started filming it, I believe,
Yeah.
because parents in the stands were complaining, hey, that kid stepped over the line. I know
Yes.
darn well my son beat him or my daughter beat him,
Mhm.
and so I know we did a lot better job in the 80s, and you've got a
Yeah.
lot more of that memorabilia. But
Right. And we've been able to, we have that footage on physical tapes and things, and we've been
right,
able to incorporate those in some of our gridios, which is always so cool. If we have a finalist whose parent competed in the 80s, we can or the 90s, we can, do that like comparison of like when their parents were shooting versus them. And it's just really cool to see that film of them in Indy stepping up to the line. It is nice to have that, like those photos, and
absolutely, yeah,
yeah, it's cool.
absolutely.
Yeah, kind of speaking again a little bit more about, your father's, impact on the program. In 1974, he actually introduced the girls divisions, to the competition, and we call that the hashtag Girls Aloud movement today. But do you have a sense of, why that was important to your dad, to do that, kind of really change the program immensely?
Absolutely, absolutely. Ironically, girls sports in Indiana,
Mhm.
this is their 50th anniversary.
No way.
50th year of girls volleyball in Indiana. And the first year of volleyball in Indiana for girls, the state champion team had 3 boys on it. There were no boys volleyball teams.
Wow.
So they allowed boys to play.
Uh-huh.
So the second year, I'm a longtime volleyball coach. The
Right.
second year of girls high school volleyball, me and 3 buddies tried to try out for our high school team. they wouldn't let us, so they started a boys team
Okay.
after that. But that's when girls sports in Indiana really started rolling. There was
Mhm.
something called a GAA, which was the Girls Athletic Association,
Okay.
but it wasn't sanctioned by any high school, like the Indiana High School Athletic Association.
Sure.
So when that happened in 72, my father thought, okay, this could start rolling for the girls.
Mhm.
So on the way to Kansas City in 1974, the second year of the national championship,
Mhm.
we flew to Des Moines, Iowa. And Des Moines, Iowa was hosting the girls' state Final Four.
Oh.
And it wasn't a Final Four, it was just the state championship. Actually, there were 16 teams there.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was girls basketball. And these girls played 3-on-3 on one end and 3-on-3 on another end. So they were actually playing,
Oh,
it was a 6-on-6 game,
yeah.
but nobody could cross half court. So you playing offense on one end and defense on the other.
Right.
So you had 3 defensive players and 3 offensive players. And I'll tell you, that place was nuts. And Dick Freshley, who was a regional director from Iowa, had
Mhm.
convinced my dad to come out there and see that. Now you're talking about a gym. I don't remember where it was, but it had to have been 10,000 people there watching.
Wow.
And that immediately convinced the
Mhm.
Elks they needed girls involved in their program.
Yeah.
So I'm 100% sure that's an accurate story. I
Yeah.
went to that game.
Yeah.
I saw the
You're
game.
there.
Yes, I was there, and it was cool. I love the concept of 3-on-3 girls basketball on one end. And you couldn't go across that line in the center court,
Oh,
but
that is so cool.
yeah, that's what started it. And then Dad had one of my classmates.
Mhm.
She came to the house. He took a photo of her, and that's how we made the woman's hoop shoot trophy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's the men's got a little stouter upper body
Yeah.
because that trophy was replicated after a punt, pack, pass, and kick trophy
Oh, okay.
that I had won 2 years prior to the national championship start.
Wow.
So he did that, and then he took my classmate's picture,
And that was it. That was the
and
model for the
that was
model for
the
the
model
trophy
for
was
the
made,
trophy.
and
Absolutely. Yeah,
from there on.
right.
Wow.
Yeah,
I love the idea that, there was just like unequivocal proof that girls sports was going to be a big thing by going to that gym, seeing the stands packed and being like, yep, we got to do it. Like
right, right,
there's clearly an appetite for this, this is going to be the next phase or whatever of the program. And I love it. He was just like, all right, we got to start now and let's get the trophy made. That's so
right,
cool. Yeah.
right.
Oh, wow, that's really awesome. I mean, and speaking of trophies, we have a Getty Powell Award, and that's given out to the top girl and boy shooter each year at the national finals. What does it mean to you to have a trophy that is named after your dad?
Well, it means a lot to me. Um, I don't know that it meant a lot to him.
Okay.
I think he thought he was supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Now, this being the 50th year of the program, I'm sure it means a lot to him, and it
Hmm.
means more to me.
Yeah.
Uh, I can't imagine that the program's still going on 50
Yeah.
years after the inception, to be honest
Hmm.
with you.
Right.
But yeah, it's pretty special. I mean, I get to present it every now and then, and it is an awesome feeling.
Yeah.
Obviously, it brings some tears to my eyes, but uh,
Hmm.
yeah,
It's
great
huge.
honor.
It's a huge deal. Yeah. And
Yeah,
it's just such a cool way to honor your dad and recognize the next set of really inspiring hoop shooters and their stories too, which I
right,
think is cool. It comes kind of full circle with
absolutely.
the award. I really love
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he
And
used to love, I mean, that was the highlight of his national convention was
oh
when they'd say those two national champions come
yep.
dribbling down. do the
Yeah.
convention. Yeah, he loved that more than anything. Absolutely.
Oh, that's so great. It's great to hear that. And yeah, we hope to have, our Getty Powell winners back at convention in the future. Fingers crossed that we're able to do that. This past year has been, of course, as we all know, full of challenges, full of, setbacks. Like you said, we missed these last 2 years of finals because of all of the issues with the pandemic and, having to cancel and change the season on its head. And as a, volleyball coach, you've also had to deal with those challenges. So kind of, if you could walk us through a little bit, like what was that like for you, this past year?
It was awful.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Here in Indiana, they never shut down our school corporation. We had virtual school
Mhm.
if you wanted. If you
Yeah.
didn't want virtual school, you got to go to school. But I'm going to say about 25% of my kids went to school.
Mhm.
They were scared to death last
Yeah.
July when we started walking in the gym.
Mhm.
I had one test positive first week, one second week, one the third week, one the fourth week. And they were nervous about it, but I tried to stay very, very positive.
Mhm.
And the longer time went on, they became more positive as well. It was definitely huge that we could get in the gym together.
Yeah.
Those kids were sitting at home and I can't imagine. Can't
Yeah.
imagine being 12, 14 years old, sitting at home, trying to live your life and you don't know any better, but
Right.
it was awful. It was
Yeah.
awful. So as a coach, I was scared to death to condition. I didn't know whether I was going to knock down their immune system.
Yeah.
Stayed positive and we got through it. And, we had a good season. And then we started canceling some more. And after the volleyball season, then we had club going on.
Mhm.
And club's not school. Club kids come from all over.
Sure.
But it seemed like they were through it and they
Mhm.
didn't have a fear of it because the information said that young kids, I was more
Mhm.
scared than the kids were,
I was gonna say, yeah. Right.
but it, I think having sports
Mhm.
meant so much to kids,
Yeah.
especially last fall. In our area of Louisville, Kentucky, and Southern Indiana, this was the most participation we'd had in club volleyball
Wow.
ever.
Yeah.
And I think it was just because, kids had been shut down, not being able
Yeah.
to do things. And so
Absolutely.
now we're still dealing with it. You know, uh, Kids are staying more positive about it. Um,
Mhm.
Kids love being in the gym. They love being in school. They love being social. Um, they can still be social on phones, which I'm too old to appreciate being
Yeah,
old
yeah, yeah.
socially on phones. But it's a much better situation. We're in a much better place.
Mhm.
Kids are happy now, even though that virus is going around once
Right.
again, because, the younger kids aren't getting it yet. So
Yeah.
knock on wood, hopefully that stays that way.
Absolutely. Yeah, no. And I think that you really hit the nail on the head. From what I'm hearing is everyone is just so excited for sports to be happening and for the chance to participate and be active again,
Right.
of course we're moving ahead safely, but we're moving ahead so that everyone has that chance to have that sense of normalcy, have that sense of fun and excitement again, which is
Right. Right.
important for kids.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh man, do you have any like words of wisdom or advice for athletes and hoop shooters coming back to the court this season?
Just stay positive, work hard. I mean,
Yeah.
the virus isn't stopping people from going outside and working hard on their own. You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
um, the people that succeed in life, people don't see the hard work you put in, you've put in by yourself. That's
Hmm.
where you get, that's where you succeed.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. That's perfect, and I think that's so true of our hoop shoot kids too. They're put in a ton of hours to
Right.
to succeed. So,
Right.
um, we've kind of captured the last 50 years of the program and the history, but do you have any sense of where the hoop shoot might go in the next 50 years?
Well, like I said, youth sports is booming. Youth sports is growing leaps and bounds. And of course, it's not just basketball and free throw shooting, but kids are participating more and more and more and more. And obviously, active kids are, in my eyes, better kids. There's a high school advertisement on the radio in Indiana that says high school kids that are involved in sports succeed more in the classroom and in life than any other thing.
Yeah.
So I think 50 more years, I'll be 112. Be at that contest. How's
Yes,
that?
you will. Oh my gosh, yeah. And I mean, I hear that all the time too with, especially studies on grit is when kids are super dedicated to something like athletics and they're putting it in the determination, not only do they succeed well in that sport and they'll thrive in that setting, but they'll also thrive in all of the other settings in their life. That's why we say hoop shoot creates gritty kids. Athletics do that. If you're going to put in the time to do it, you'll come out, a better person on the other side, which is so cool. So yeah.
My volleyball kids, the busier they are, the more successful they are. They got to have better management. And they gotta be ahead of the game, and do that without question.
Yeah, right, absolutely. So I mean, we've heard a lot of your memories, and you've shared with us so much about the program. But do you have like top 3 moments of hoop shoot? Anything that really just like jumps out at you from all the contests you've been to?
Well, top 3. I've got to have some honorable mention. You got to let me have some honorable mention.
Yes.
Honorable mention number 1 is Keith and Amy Mills, involved with the program forever. And now Keith's somehow, some way, the grand exalted ruler. And I absolutely love it. I'm just kidding, Keith. I'm just kidding. But Keith was a huge part of our program.
Yeah.
Just like all the other great friends that I've met through the years. Elks are great volunteers. And over the 50 years, I've met a lot and lots of people.
Yeah.
And still have those friendships. Lost a lot of people through hoop shoot, but obviously it keeps growing and growing and growing, and you make new friends every time you go.
Yeah.
And another honorable mention would be Indiana having the most national championships. Gotta throw that in there, don't I?
Yeah. The basketball state.
Basketball state. In the beginning, Iowa and Indiana were going back and forth, and now we have a slight lead with another national champion this year. So
Yep.
That's my honorable mention. Number 3, when we went to the 1991 finals in Springfield, Massachusetts, there was a participant there named CJ Kogel. CJ Kogel won 4 national championships. And like I said previously, when we were in Springfield, the arena was open and people were coming in. Coach Bob Knight came in and watched the shoot, or some of the shoot. And CJ was shooting. And CJ had visually a roundabout way of shooting.
Yeah.
The Kogel family is historic for hoop shoot. I don't know if it's his sons or his brother
nephews.
And sisters.
Yep, it's his nephews. Yep.
That have won multiple national championships.
Yeah.
But CJ took the ball like this and shot.
Really?
That's how he shot. Coach Knight came in and saw that. And he was right by me and he said, that kid's not missing. And he went back and sat down and he said, is he going to shoot again? And I said, yes. CJ hit 25 out of 25 that year. And Coach Knight was astounded that kid made those shots. The Basketball Hall of Fame banquet was the next day, and the Kogels came. and Coach Knight was there. Coach went up to CJ, asked him about that shot, said it was the most unbelievable thing. Kogels were either from really close to Colorado, Grand Island, Nebraska, actually, I believe.
Okay. Yeah.
Coach said, "Where are you from?" He said, "I think Grand Island, Nebraska." And Coach said, "I go grouse hunting out in Colorado and Nebraska." He said, "Give me your address. I'll look you up the next time I'm there." That was such a cool moment. And it
Wow.
was a cool moment watching CJ shoot like that, because I'm a basketball guy and I have no idea how that ball went in the hole.
How
Wait,
did that work?
yeah,
Yeah. I've never seen anyone. I mean, there's a lot of interesting techniques that I've seen, but the
yeah,
around the back of the head, I've
yeah,
never seen before.
yeah. And I'm sure we still have tape on that, obviously. So
Hmm.
you'll see it in your findings.
Wow.
Number two moment was in 2000. Um, they were shooting off for my dad's award.
Mhm.
And usually when you're shooting off for my dad's award, it's not usually a 10 and 11-year-old kid. It's an 8 and 9 versus a 12 and 13.
Oh.
And that year, there was an 8 and 9-year-old kid by the name of Dusty Fields. Dusty was from somewhere in Texas.
Okay.
And had a super personality. He had a smile from ear to ear, and he knocked 25 shots down so fast when he was shooting against 8, 9-year-olds. He was competing against a kid named Sean Floor. And Sean Floor had won as an 8 and 9-year-old, and now he's 12 and 13. He'd also won my dad's award as an 8 and 9-year-old.
Okay.
So when I'm watching them shoot off for my dad's award, I'm usually rooting for the little guy I shouldn't be. And Sean was in the same situation when he won his national championship. He had already won my dad's award, and he beat the big guy in the 12 and 13 contest too.
Sure.
So they're both 25 for 25. It took 50 shots. And I think Dusty missed his 47th shot.
Oh my gosh.
The place was electric. It was
Yeah.
unbelievable. And I really felt bad for the kid. Obviously, Sean Floor won my dad's award twice,
Mhm. Yeah.
which is great for him. But what a moment! I mean, that ball just kept going, and the crowd started rumbling each time
Yeah.
they hit 5 out of 5.
Right.
So that was my number 2 moment.
Oh,
My
wow.
number 1 moment is a little different.
Mhm.
We were in Indianapolis, and can't tell you the year. And one of the line judges got sick right before the contest.
Mhm.
My dad comes to me and he says, "Hey, I need you to do the line."
Oh my gosh.
So, okay, I'll go do the line. So I don't even know the age. I know it was girls.
Mhm.
So, we go through these warm-ups and I'm handing the balls to these kids. And this little girl misses her one practice shot.
Oh no.
Just one practice shot.
Mhm.
So we get going into the contest, and this little girl missed all 10 of her shots.
Oh.
So now we're going to the next 15, and I feel so bad for this kid. There's some tears in her eyes without
Yeah.
question, but she misses about the first 7, and the tears really start rolling. And so now, as the line judge, I'm not supposed to be talking to these kids.
Yeah.
I'm talking to this kid. Take
Oh.
it. You're good. You're good. You're doing fine. Well, she never made a shot.
Oh.
So we go to the banquet that night, and she's got her arm in a sling. And she had broke her arm. They took the cast off to come to the contest. She shot every ball left-handed. She wasn't giving up that spot.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that unbelievable?
That is unbelievable. I have chills. I have goosebumps right now hearing that
and,
story.
and I thought I was causing problems.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. Do you remember her name?
I don't. I
That's
don't.
okay. I'll have to
And
look it up.
you'll have
Yeah.
to look up the scores because
Hmm.
it's clearly
I'm sure it was there, so it's public, it's record, it's
right.
on our site. We can look that up. But
Right.
wow,
Yeah.
what a
Unbelievable.
story. That's unbelievable.
Yeah. But she was coming Indy. She
Yeah,
wasn't
she's
giving that trip up for $1 million,
no shooting with a broken arm. I mean that dedication is just that's astounding.
That's
Wow.
grit. There's your
Yeah,
grit.
that is grit. That is grit. And I'm gonna look it up and we'll try to put that below in the description, the name of the contestant and the year so that we can share that with everybody. But that is unbelievable, really. Like wow, that's
Yeah.
so cool.
And you would think after 50 years it'd be some kind of national champion, but
No,
no.
but just the dedication and determination to
Sure.
continue to succeed even though you've had an injury like that is just
Right.
it's inspiring. It
Yeah.
really is. It's so
Absolutely. Absolutely.
wow. Oh my gosh. Well, I think that's our time for today. And thank you so much for joining us and having all of these great memories and ending on such an inspiring note with that story. We'll be back next month here on Hoop Shooting the Breeze. And we'll be kicking off our second season of the service scorecard with that interview. So be sure to come back next month. And in the meantime, subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you like the show, leave a thumbs up and let us know what you thought in the comments below. Until next time, best wishes. Bye.
Bye.